When the sun shines bright in June, I ask, oh, won't you read a room? Can't you see that I am in pain? Wishing for him,
I
wish for
moved
rain.
around a lot in July, and I left a lot behind. I gathered the records I had made from January through April and turned them into a book. I also built a website myself to hold everything that came after. I make records, build a place to store them, and then go back and look through them again. At this point, I'm basically self-employed in record keeping. Lately, I've been going back through old records, reorganize them. Things that felt important at the time sometimes seem insignificant now, while things I barely noticed back then suddenly stand out. Around that time, Anna Maria Luisa, a videographer I really like, used my music in one of her videos. I had listened to that piece so many times that I thought I knew it completely. But when I heard it alongside her images, it sounded unfamiliar for a moment. The same thing can look or sound slightly different after passing through someone else's world. That made me more curious about how other people see and hear the same things. When I think about it, I've always been more used to looking closely at trees, animals, and light and wind than at people. I never really knew how to look at people, but this summer I wanted to try paying a little more attention. One day in July, an older woman started talking to us in Ramapo, a forest we often visit. She asked what language we were speaking. Korean. She said she didn't understand it, but thought the sound of Korean was beautiful. Then she asked how Japanese sounded different. So, in the middle of the forest, we suddenly started saying greetings in Korean, Japanese. I usually hear Korean almost entirely through its meaning. She was hearing its rhythm and pitch. I found that interesting. I became curious about her, so when I got home, I pieced together a few things she had mentioned in our conversation and managed to find her website. It felt a little like being an internet detective, but I emailed her anyway. A few days later, we met again at Ramapo, and somehow we became friends. Later, I learned the word umwelt. It refers to the unique world each living being experiences through its own body and senses. On the same trail, I might be looking at the landscape while Dudu is following smells. And she heard sound in the Korean language that I use without thinking much about it. Even in the same place, we're all taking in very different things. Maybe records work In a similar way, I can preserve a moment and see one thing in it, while someone else might see something completely different. I used to care mostly about what I want to leave behind. Lately, I've become more curious about how the same things might look to someone else. So when I go back through my records from July, I try to think not only the what I saw, but also about what other words might have been there in the same scene.
Walking through an orange blossom, blizzard in the air. Springtime, slip around the bed. See the summer bed.